Hello, friends. It's the Cinemondo podcast. You know what? I remember horror movies being really good in the 80s and the 90s, and everybody was
Were they?
well, everybody talks about the 80s, the horror films
Yeah.
in the 80s, and the slasher and the genre. A lot of things were sort of invented in the 80s, but there was some film companies that were sort of trying to get in on it, and there was this one film company called Troma that always felt like they really wanted to make horror films, but they knew they couldn't afford to do them with big budgets. So
But
they
horror
just
movies
kinda,
are cheap, though. You could make them cheap and good.
yeah,
They wanted to go the campy route, like they were in on the joke or something.
they went in another direction, and for some reason, I never got into it. Like the films like the Toxic Avenger, and some people really loved it though. Some people, I remember seeing people with Toxic Avenger T-shirts and just fans, like super fans. But I hear there's a new one.
Well, yeah, and it's directed by Macon Blair, who is an interesting actor and director who's done really cool stuff. He was in the Blue Ruin and Green Room, which are really good films by Jeremy Saulnier. Was the director. He also directed a film called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, which I remember seeing, which is an interesting drama shot here in LA. So he's the guy that's making this film, and this is not a Troma cast. This is a cast of people we all know and love, like Peter Dinklage and Kevin,
like
Bacon.
A-list, like big Elijah Wood,
right?
David Yao,
Jacob Tremblay, our buddy David Yao. Yeah,
it makes me think that this is not going to be like the Troma things. It's almost like the idea of taking something that was originally sort of cheaply made and campy and whatever, and then maybe they're trying to do a serious version of it, almost like Shin Toxic Avenger, right? Shin Toxic Avenger.
I kind of wonder, since the cast, their names belie what you're saying. Like the cast is the wild card, the wise hobo, the bod, the kid, the shopkeeper. Like, the kind of things where they're being cheeky. But the thing is, I think there's a room for this. I think you can have kind of a cheeky, campy, fun movie with a little more production and a little bit more, better writing. But it's these kind of cult movies aren't always about quality. They're about just resonating with people.
I think it's going to have that. It's going to be campy all the way. And I think these guys.
Peter Dinklage.
I know.
I'm going to watch anything he does. So they got me.
Well, let's check it out. And the film was made 2 years ago, and it's being released in August, which is always sort of a question mark. It doesn't mean that the film is good or bad. It just means it was delayed in getting out there. And that's always kind of a question mark. Like, why, how did it get lost in the sauce? Was it shelved because they wanted to redo it? Who knows? Anyway,
tons of post-production. Is it filled with special effects? And
well, we'll see. Let's take, and this is an uncensored, so there'll be some gore.
Those are the best kind.
Usually these delayed releases mean that they had to recast someone, or something horrible like that. Like, sometimes there'll be like some sort of scandal with an actor, and the film company's like, okay, we got to get him out of there and get a new one in, and try not to let anybody know about it, or things like that, where
sometimes it's just studios like holding a movie because it didn't know when to release it. Like there was a pandemic and the strike, and then, what do we do? And then another one buys it out, and there's merging of different studios, and so you never know what holds up a movie sometimes, but then they come out and they end up being good. So maybe.
Well, here's the last thing I'll say: the two production companies, Troma Entertainment, evidently they're still around in some way, and Legendary Pictures, which is like, they do the biggest.
Go back in time. What is happening? And also Kevin Bacon's in it, which come on now. It's like we've literally gone back in time. I don't know what's happening.
All right. Well, let's check it out. Check it out.
My mind is, I'm fully open to watching this and seeing it and enjoying it.
I have no idea what I'm about to see.
I know. I really have no idea what this is going to be like.
Yeah.
Sort of the Troma thing, I guess.
Oh,
right.
All right, everybody, quiet.
Miss me.
Armed political extremists have taken hostages downtown.
Wait! Stop! We'll get to all of that. Just relax, okay? We'd lost Shelley a year ago. These days, it's just me and the kid.
Looks great.
Not just the black part.
The bread part's
pretty good.
now, give him back.
I don't want to hurt him.
Why didn't you do anything?
Sometimes it's better to do nothing. It's going good.
You're saying that this corporation
Kevin Bacon's bad guy.
would knowingly poison its own customers just to boost their own profit margins? Summon the nuts.
Okay, summoning
The nuts.
I didn't want any of this.
I like the kind of low-key effect. That's the color.
I'm a monster.
You're not a monster. Show him your good heart.
Oh God!
Buddy, I'm your dad.
What the?
Jesus pulled out a gun.
I wasn't even involved. But sometimes you gotta do something.
Who the fuck are you?
Just some dude with a mouth.
Holding hands at the
How does it feel to be a hero?
a simple melody.
Do you realize what's at stake here?
Everything!
Find him, bring him here. There you are.
Only the good things in life, that's all that matters.
That was just self-defense. You haven't killed anyone else, have you?
See, when you say self-defense,
Only the good things.
He's an ugly son of a bitch, though.
That's all that matters to me.
The Toxic Avenger.
That's what the kids are calling him. I think it's swell.
Show the fuck up, it says. All right. You know, I really like that. I'm just saying, you know, it was just having fun. And just having Peter Dinklage already it just completely leveled up instantly. He did a lot of stuff in that like he did in Game of Thrones, honestly.
And the gore is so ridiculous and silly that it's
Yeah.
not, you know, it's just kind of goofy and just kind of exploding, you know, bags of blood and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So
I love Kevin Bacon's styling. It was great. Like he's like kind of like the Scarface kind of villain.
Right.
He's like the kind of fancy robes with the fur and then his hair's all down and straight.
Right.
So fun.
Kevin Bacon can do anything.
He does no wrong. He's my hero. He's not bad.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, it looks like a trauma film. It's got that
A little
sense
better
of-
than a trauma film.
well, just maybe
Yeah.
better,
Yeah.
you know,
Better
it's not-
photography.
or something. Yeah, just some simple
Well,
stuff.
I was noticing some stuff in this. I'm wondering if they did it on purpose. The backlot stuff is like backlot. It screams backlot.
It seems like it's
And-
intentional.
And there is a way to dress a backlot to make it not look so much like a backlot, and they did not do that. They left
Right.
it backlotty.
Not gonna do it.
Which
Costs too much money.
is-
No one's gonna care.
But the funny thing about it is it gave it a nostalgic vibe because it
Mhm.
looked like something that was shot in the 80s. Because
did.
in the 80s, they didn't really dress the backlot very much. They just sort of show up and put a shopping cart over there or something. And the colored lights, you know, that's always something I make fun of with old horror films. I used to call them colored light horror films
Mhm.
because when the monster would show up, there'd be like a green light and a blue light and a red light, and you'd get a red halo light and a blue and a green, and it was like, where did those lights come from and why, you know? And it just took me out of the film because suddenly there was, you know, disco lighting. The horror films that wanted to kind of put you into another horror film land or another realm or another world would do that, and they did that in this. They were doing the colored light thing, which is so 80s.
Yeah.
So they're intentionally making it look cheesy.
They're keeping it in the realm of the original source material. And I wonder
Yeah.
too, that last shot of the news anchors, was that from the original Toxic Avengers that had that
Looked
vibe?
like it with
I would
the-
love if they ended it with that little
That's what
clip.
the
If
kids
that's
are calling
someone tell me if that's what but I like the, you know, show the fuck up was funny.
right.
But you can tell they're having fun, and everyone in that movie is like, yeah, I'll do Toxic Avenger, because everyone in that movie probably grew up with that movie. So they're all like, I want to be. I imagine just Peter Dinklage going, if I can be the Toxic Avenger,
Yeah, I'll do it.
he's so good.
I want to be
Oh.
Toxie. Yeah, it's like
And I don't
But,
remember this.
who better?
Yeah, but I don't remember the first film. Was it like a character actor that turned into like a janitor that turned into the? I don't remember the movie at all, to be honest with you.
Sounds like this sounds like a remake of Toxic Avenger.
Okay.
But
Well, it
a
is.
different cat. Yeah, it's not like
Are we
Toxic
doubting
Avenger
that,
sequel
or-
because they made sequels. They made
Right.
they made Toxic Avenger sequels and
This
sequels.
is the
and sequels.
fifth one in the
Let's start with
series.
the first one.
But this
Right.
one seems like a
It's an
a
origin
reboot.
story.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't know why they would continue it. You got to start over because it's a whole new guy, right? So
With a whole new guy. Yeah.
yeah, and he's like a janitor who has no power, and now he has power, and
Right. He's got his toxic broom, his mop, or whatever.
intoxicating. Ha!
Yeah.
Oh.
Wah, wah.
But
But
it's
I
coming-
think they did a good job. I think they captured the vibe with familiar faces, which I think is smart, gives some star power to some of the fun, and also Elijah Wood looked hilarious with his
Yeah.
terrible hair, and
Yeah.
it's really good.
It'll be
Yeah,
interesting.
have some scenes. I love seeing David in
Yeah,
there.
we'll try to get him on to talk about it. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think he's friends with Macon Blair, so I think that's how he got in there. And he's also
And what is he
perfect-
again?
Wise
Wise
hobo.
Hobo.
That's
The
right.
wise
He's
hobo.
the wise hobo.
Wise Hobo. If he ever needs to change the name of his band.
That's a good one. That's a good name. But
it'll
I thought
be
this was fun.
It looked fun. It'll be interesting to see if they'll capture a newer audience, because we can look at our age and we can say, this is something we remember. I'm wondering if the Toxic Avenger will play to the younger crowd. It might, because
Well, when is this coming out? If it's coming
August
around
20,
Halloween,
August 29th. So that's kind of,
right before Halloween.
no,
So-
August, not October, August.
I know. Oh, August. Oh,
Yeah.
Well, they should. Why are
Kinda
they doing
like-
it? I guess summer.
It's the end of the
Bloody
summer. of Labor Day.
blockbuster.
You're right. So,
But the funny thing
We'll
about this
see.
is the nostalgia factor. I mean, just the fact that you've got Kevin Bacon in there. I mean,
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon did some really great, not so much campy, but kind of verging on campy things like Tremors, and
Yeah.
and he did some really good horror films.
Stir of Echoes.
Stir of Echoes
Yes,
is a great one.
does some great
So he's
movies.
done a lot of genre stuff, and he always brings the Kevin Bacon. He's kind of like a I don't know, like a slightly lower key Nicolas Cage type actor. He can do these unhinged characters, and he's got his own. He is definitely Kevin Bacon. You read it right, first frame.
That's right.
it was like Maxine, the way he did that film where he was playing kind of a crazy sort of, private eye who was going after her. Anyway,
Yeah,
so this
he was just in the Bondsman horror series, The Bondsman.
Yeah.
He was good in that. I didn't super love that show. Unfortunately, it didn't make a second season. It didn't. Yeah, but he was amazing, but didn't quite plot wise. It didn't quite keep the intensity going. But he was amazing in it, and he looks amazing. So it's like he's keeping it together. And also, we have a poster. So you can tell us a little Peter Dinklage down here.
Wasn't that the hero we need now? Wasn't that the original tagline of the original film?
Oh yeah, let's pull up an
have to check
original.
that out.
Yeah, is there like an old original Toxic Avenger poster? Because
Let's see if we can, yeah, let's see.
it was something like that. I remember it just showed just a picture of him, like maybe silhouetted or something, and it said the hero we need now.
Yeah, I wonder.
Maybe.
Was the original one also green tinged a la the Hulk, or was it? I can't remember.
Yeah, well, he was kind of skin colored, I think.
Right.
This one looks like he's green because he's got green gel lights on him. You know, all the different.
Right.
But he's
colored
also green. I mean, I think he is he's toxic, right?
lights.
He's
Yeah,
skin
I think
color
maybe
is also
might have been
green.
green, but
And the green broom.
yeah, the glowing green
Yeah.
broom.
It's because he's a janitor.
Yeah, toxic janitor.
Oh, freaking funny. So yeah, let's see. Let's find that.
He's got this sort of punk rock wristband on there to let you know that he's cool.
Yeah, that's right. It says Melvin was a 90-pound weakling until nuclear waste made him a hero.
Yeah. Okay, that's the original tagline.
You had to be more transformed him into the Toxic Avenger. So you have to be very literal sometimes when you're
Right.
at a weird concept like that. I don't remember. Was he tiny? Was he small?
No, he wasn't. No,
He
he
was
was.
Well, I think.
fully
Oh,
big.
just 90-pound weak and just skinny nerd, right?
Yeah, he was a
turned into a big dude.
skinny guy,
Yeah.
but he turned it, and that was kind of part of the. It was almost like wow, I'm really strong now.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
Well, it comes out end of August, and it's got a good cast and a good director, and it's gotten, Rotten Tomatoes has given it like 93%. So that's something. Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's a lot.
yeah, it's
It
pretty
has
good.
something. Yeah.
So I think if you're in the mood for sort of campy, horror hilarity, that's the one. This is the one to check out.
You got an incredible cast in this, so it will not waste your time just alone seeing these people have fun together. Because I think that's sort of going to make it. Just seeing Kevin Bacon as a Scarface type character
And
will
it's
be really funny.
very clear what you were going to get with this movie. If you watch the trailer, you're stupid if you're expecting anything else.
You're stupid. So if
You're
you don't
just
like it, you're just stupid.
Stupid people need not apply.
Cinemondo is declared.
Shin Toxic Avenger.
Right. It's not that.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much. See you at the movies.
Take care, everybody.